Hi teacher friends, welcome back to our channel, a channel hyper-focused on making primary teachers' lives easier. I'm Katie from Team Lucky Little Learners, back with our weekly Wednesday teaching tips video. This week, we'll tackle bulletin boards.
This week, I will show you how you can DIY more bulletin board space if needed, and how to make your bulletin boards interactive teaching tools.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to never miss a weekly Wednesday video. Let's dive in.
Before we start taking a closer look at bulletin boards, let's understand why they are important. Purposeful bulletin boards are not just decorations. They should serve as valuable teaching tools that show concepts you're learning or review concepts you've already learned.
But let's take a step back for a second. What if you don't have enough or any bulletin boards? There's a few solutions for this.
You can DIY a bulletin board for your classroom with poster board. When I saw this tutorial online, I ran to the dollar store and picked up 2 poster boards. I want a bulletin board to use in my small group reading area, more on this later. So this board needs to be on a smaller scale. You will also need scissors and duct tape. I have seen online instructions saying you can glue these together, but I wanted a quicker solution. So I'm simply duct taping my poster folds down, then taping them together. Once that was done, I decided to use my classroom greenery covering. I love the look of this and I wanted to try a new color scheme. I am in love with earth tones and incorporate those as often as possible in my classroom. This next step felt sort of like wrapping a present. I found that I had to press a bit harder than I thought to get the staples to stick, but on the edges my stapler went all the way through, easy peasy. Then I did the border and I chose a burlap looking border to complement the greenery look. I was able to use my stapler as if I was stapling a packet, so this step went quick. And I had one of those amazing moments where the border leftovers filled my gap perfectly. Another option when you're lacking classroom bulletin board space is just to put up paper to cover your wall space. These are bulletin boards I created a couple years ago by hanging up paper with tacks. I just taped things up throughout the school year because I wasn't able to staple into those walls. In Taylor's classroom, she hung these anchor charts with twine and clothespins across the wall. This is a great way to create bulletin board space without putting holes in the wall, plus super easy to hang things up.
All right, the first step into creating a purposeful and not just decorative bulletin board is planning. I like to grab a blank piece of paper and sketch out exactly how I want my board to look, including the learning goals or the theme I want it to focus on. Today we're going to take a closer look at 4 different types of bulletin boards: math, literacy, writing, and a classroom calendar. We'll save the sound wall for another video. We'll also take a peek at how students could interact with each of these types of boards. Now let's get back to our small group literacy board. This board is something I would refer to often while teaching small groups.
For this small group literacy board, I'm going to do subject headers for phonics skill of the week, comprehension skill poster, and grammar skills of the week. I'm also going to put some interactive elements on, which you'll see later. I hung this on my wall using command strips, the kind that Velcro together, and it stays up really good. Now it's time to check out the interactive elements of this chart. The skills hung up on this chart are things we are working on in class right now. So for this example, I'm showing how I would use a noun, verb, adjective sort. Here's a little hack when you want students to tape things up onto a bulletin board or a whiteboard. I cut out everything first and I tape it onto a clipboard. Then all that needs to be done is myself or a student will peel it off and stick it up. It saves a lot of time instead of having to put on tape in front of the students.
Now let's move on to our math bulletin board. Our goal is to make math fun and approachable, which is a struggle for some students. We'll do this by incorporating some interactive elements into our bulletin board. Follow along as I walk through each part of our board, piece by piece.
First thing is our focus with our weekly anchor chart. I just stapled the next one right on top. We also have our vocab, which will be growing throughout the year. Our station rotation. I like to use these math cards. We have our strategies of the week, and we have a math chat, prompting questions. Here's the interactive student part, the number of the day. I like to have different students fill out the chart each day.
Now let's build a writing bulletin board. In my classroom, I use this bulletin board to showcase examples of what good writers do depending on the skill we're working on. Lots of times when we tell students, I think you should add more details, or can you double check the end marks on your sentences? They hear us, but they're not exactly sure how to apply that tip to their writing. A visual can go a long way.
Having a visual for your students to check their work against is a game changer. Watch your students' writing quality improve when they understand exactly what good writing looks like. Another purposeful bulletin board is the classroom calendar. It's a great tool for checking in during morning meeting, and it can incorporate math and science skills. I love it in these bright colors. Changing bulletin board themes periodically keeps the classroom fresh and exciting. You can tie the themes to seasons, holidays, or ongoing classroom projects. I like to tie in something small that matches the theme or season. My students always notice it, and they get excited to see what pops up each month.
And there you have it. Purposeful math and literacy bulletin boards that will engage your students and hopefully not collect dust over the school year. Remember, when it comes to bulletin boards, your motto should be purpose over pretty. Hopefully this video gave you some helpful bulletin board setup tips. Happy teaching! And remember, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to catch our videos every week.